welcome. If you're just joining us, you're on to your favorite program, Democracy and the Rule of Law. So our second topic today is the delay in the inauguration of the 11 Supreme Court justices that has already been screened and confirmed by the Senate. You know, recall that we have a historic number in the Supreme Court because, of course, I don't know if I will be fact-checked. This is the first time in the history of the country that we are having all the prescribed number of justices, you know, filling the 21-man quota. But unfortunately, there is a delay, about 40 days. So we want to look at why the delay. So by Saudi, does it take a long, is it part of the constitutional requirement that it has to take a long time, you know, before these justices, you know, because they are Supreme Court justices, they don't want to rush to inaugurate them. If it takes about 6 months or 9 months or 1 year before, after confirmation by the Senate for them to be inaugurated, or what is going on?
Well, the fact is that it's an amazement to everybody, including my humble self, that when other judges are appointed, they are screened, they are sworn in, and they commence work in earnest. And Nigerians were made to understand that the delays in matters, especially the Supreme Court, has to do with the shortage of manpower. Now, 11 justices have been screened and have been certified fit to occupy those posts. Now, after 40 days, they are not yet inaugurated. It's a very big question mark because nobody can explain. Nigerians are eager to know why have they not been allowed to go ahead and do the job that Nigerians are expecting. Because one of the issues we have with our administration of justice in Nigeria is delay. The other day I was discussing with a client who lives in UK, and he said, look, that in UK, that when you commence a matter in court, you know that within some period the matter is over. But the reverse is the case in Nigeria. You cannot say with any degree of precision that a particular matter that is commenced in 2024 will end on a particular year. You can't say so. So, at the Supreme Court, cases there last for 15 years, 20 years, sometimes 25 years. Now there are more hands. Those hands are to lessen the burden.
Currently tied.
Yes. Why are they not yet allowed to kick up and take up the gauntlet and reduce and ensure that justice is not delayed? So I see no reason why there's this delay. There's no constitutional provision that authorizes or enables or causes this delay. There's nothing in the Constitution. And of course, other ministers when they are, screened and then they are sworn in, they go about doing their job. Why would this one be different?
Okay, thank you very much for that point. So, Barrister Mike, we all recall that the administration of justice in any country is part, and parcel of the ease of doing business, and also part of foreign direct investment, yes. The way external countries view the country. Of course, Barrister Obiora may have mentioned the issue of delay and all of that, which has always been the major, complaint by litigants and those who want to approach the court, and even those who want to do business in Nigeria. And luckily enough, fortunately for the country, for the first time, we are having 21 Supreme Court justices, of course, which we enable. If we have 10, now we have 21. Of course, a simple mathematical explanation will mean that the case that usually takes 20 years might now take 10 years. Or the one that takes 10 years will now take 5 years because you've reduced it by half. Because you have 10, we have 21 now. So there is a half reduction in years by simple calculation. So Nigerians are worried. Why? You are a lawyer, so probably you have an insider information on why there is this.
Kenneth, I don't have any insider information. I'm amazed. In fact, I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed that in this country, the justices of the Supreme Court were screened. The only thing that is remaining now is for them to be inaugurated.
Yes.
And they start work. So what stops them from being inaugurated?
That's the big question.
I was thinking after the screening and the fact that they all passed the screening, that the next thing was going to be inauguration. You need to have a matter in the Supreme Court to appreciate what lawyers are going on.
Yes.
I mean, are passing through.
Yes.
You have a matter and you appear before the court and they give you a date in 5 years' time or 4 years' time. Is that justice? When it is said that justice delayed is justice denied.
What, 5 years time?
If it is, I'm just trying to be a little bit, how do I put it? If it is a political matter, once you go there, 1, 2, 3, they will finish it.
Yes.
Why is it that any civil matter that comes to you, and you now look at it and feel that this, probably you are feeling that this is not a matter that should have come to the Supreme Court, and a lawyer appears and you are giving him 5 years to come back for hearing? What kind of system is that? Now you have opportunity to, as you have calculated, I didn't even know that you are such a good mathematician. you are 10 and you have 21. You have opportunity to slice down the number of years that somebody will come, will wait for a matter to be heard. And you don't take that immediately. It is very shameful. It is embarrassing. And because the international community is looking at the ease of doing business in any country they want to go to invest. The moment they see that in Nigeria, if you take a matter to the court and it will last you forever, they don't come. They go to where they can get justice within a reasonable number of times. Now, I have a matter tomorrow that was filed in 2011 in the High Court for hearing. Now, how do you, when that matter, it is obvious that at the end of the day, there will be appeal to the Court of Appeal. And now, in the Court of Appeal, to get a date in the Court of Appeal here in Lagos, I don't know, I know that in some other jurisdictions it's easier. But Lagos State, to get a date, it takes not more than 2-3 years for you to get a date for a motion, not for hearing. And then the ones that are for hearing, before they give you a date, you will sweat.
How do you explain this to the client?
It's not easy. And the clients, they will just feel that you are not competent, you are not doing what you are supposed to do. It's so unfortunate. You have just 2 panels in the Court of Appeal here, and the 2 panels don't sit every time. In fact, for weeks, the 2 panels will not sit. And when they want to sit, 1 panel will sit. 1 panel will sit for a whole 1 week. The other panel will not sit. When this other panel is sitting, this one will not sit. And so the cases suffer, and you have majority of the suits or the cases in Lagos State. So what stops Lagos Judicial Division, the Court of Appeal, from engaging, employing or recruiting more justices of the Court of Appeal so that they can have more panels in the court? I'm not talking of another judicial division, but Ikeja itself deserves a judicial division of the Court of Appeal because of the number of cases that Ikeja alone has. So, but if they don't want to give a judicial division, increase the number of panels, increase it up to 4-5, so that they can be giving date, people can get date and then get judgment. Okay, like the Constitution gives, says that any matter that comes from the National Industrial Court to the Court of Appeal is not supposed to, it should be given accelerated hearing. The moment you appeal against the judgment of the National Industrial Court to the Court of Appeal in Lagos, that is when you will see whether that provision is working. It's not working. It's not working. The one that I appealed in 2015 is still there from National Industrial Court. So, and it's very annoying that the judicial system is not, the administration of justice in Nigeria is not given a priority attention at all. Those who are administering it, even from the Supreme Court justices, I mean the CJN himself, is not doing enough to ensure, because if he demands that these people must be sworn in, they would have been sworn in. He needs to just say one thing. I don't know what the issue is, but whatever has happened, these people have been screened and they have been accepted. So if they are accepted, I mean they're screened and accepted and approved, then they should be inaugurated. Let them start work so that we can ease the burden on the lawyers and the litigants themselves.
All right. Thank you, Barrister Mike. So, Barrister Obiora, flowing from what he had just said, of course, I'm sure Nigerians would want to know the procedure of this inauguration. Probably there are some special items that need to be gotten from foreign jurisdiction to ensure that the inauguration is successful. So I'm sure we want to, because if it's a simple inauguration, you could easily go to the chamber, but I'm sure there's something special that needs to be gotten, probably has not been gotten, have delayed the inauguration. So who is in charge of this inauguration? Because I'm sure the authorities in Nigeria want to know who is in charge of this inauguration and what processes that, because I understand there are a lot of ritual in the legal profession, but probably there are some things, items that need to be gotten, so at least so Nigerians will be aware that these are the things that they are waiting for, to, in order to conclude this inauguration.
As far as I am concerned, there is no justification for this delay. Supreme Court justices have their regalia, the wig and their gown. Now, if a person is appointing the judge, it doesn't take him a week or two to get those things. Now, this has taken over 40 days.
Is it the president or is it the CJN who inaugurates? Who does this?
The CJN.
Oh, the CJN.
The CJN, yes, in collaboration with the NJC, they inaugurate the Supreme Court justices. They swear them in. It's the CJN that, anchors it. Yes. And as far as I know, the delay is really disturbing. But apart from that, what I see, as offshoot of what my brother has said, is that what we're even doing a cosmetic solution to the problem at hand. The main problem facing the administration of justice in Nigeria, both civil and criminal, has to do with the structure we have. We have a hybrid of unitary government and federal system of government. We say we are a federal republic, but there's nothing really federal in structure in Nigeria, apart from having a central government there at the federal level and then states. We fail to do what is done in other countries where you have true federalism. And of course, a lot of experts, lawyers alike have been saying that we don't have real federalism in Nigeria. Because if we do, what we're talking of today is having not just these 11 justices to be sworn in, but also have the Supreme Court decentralized. We have other division Supreme Court in the 6 geopolitical zones, so that you don't overburden the Supreme Court that is there at Abuja. In America, for example, where you have true federalism, the states that make up America, they have their high courts, they have other courts, and they have their Supreme Courts in all the states. They still have one Supreme Court that is there for all of them. That's what we need in Nigeria here.
Yeah, but I guess that the federal government will argue that having one Supreme Court was for quality control. Because we've seen what is happening in the appeal court, where we have different divisions.
No, when you're talking of quality control, what are you controlling? You are saying that you want the judgments from those courts to be to meet standards that's expected of. You see, the issue of judgment writing like the late Justice Chukwudibu Oputa has said, one is a style and again meeting standards.
Yeah, not just meeting standards in terms of writing, like in terms of the quality of the judgment and the accuracy, like what we had in the appeal court that has the vision that we saw giving contradictory division for different appeals.
What we saw at the Court of Appeal, especially with in relation to election petition matters, is not enough reason to say that we will now limit it to one Supreme Court. It's not enough reason. The reason is this. Yes, the justices of the Court of Appeal in the election petition cases came up with contradictory judgment simply because they failed to synergize. The law says that there's one Court of Appeal. Divisions are just for purposes of administration. The same thing we have in states, one high court of a state. Then having divisions is just administrative purposes. So the same thing applies if we have these divisions in the Court of Appeal all over, and then they synergize. They look at judgment delivered from other divisions before they deliver their own and cross-check what the law is. There won't be problems, because there's one thing about law. Once the matter has been decided by the Supreme Court, then other courts, even the Supreme Court, is bound to follow the decision of the Supreme Court on that point. What does that leave us with? That if we have Supreme Court decentralized, we have them in other divisions, and then they come up with judgments that are in tandem with previous decisions on the same point, there will be problems. These problems arise where even when there are decisions already on ground, for one reason or the other, they try to go their own way or distinguish something that's indistinguishable. That is where the problem is. So the solution is decentralized Supreme Courts. Have other divisions. Let's say have one, like even a Justice Supreme Court suggested that let the current Supreme Court be there to handle matters that has to do with federal legislations. Let the other Supreme Court that will come up, if it's finally done, that can only be done by constitutional amendment, then handle matters, land matters, matrimonial proceedings from the states. It will ensure quicker dispensation of justice. Do you know that a lot of people don't want to go to court in Nigeria? Not because they are not willing, but because when they look at the time it will take them to come out from the court of first instance, maybe the high court, then they take another 10, 15 years at the Court of Appeal.
They have lost every appetite.
And then at the Supreme Court, sometimes people, the litigants may have all died. They keep on substituting, and so on. It's not good for our system.
All right, because of want of...
let me just chip in something.
Okay.
You know, you see the president, when he sent the list of the nominees to the Supreme Court, to the Senate, he expects them to screen and return the list to him. It is the president that will approve, final approval, before he sends it to the CJN to inaugurate. So where we don't understand is whether the president has not signed and approved it to the CJN to inaugurate, because the moment it has been signed, the CJN has no power to keep it inside his drawer.
Is that the constitutional requirement?
Yes, that's the procedure. What I'm saying is that I don't know whether the president has actually approved it and signed it and sent it to the CJN, because the CJN does not have the power to keep it without inaugurating them immediately. That is very important. And my brother has actually cited the instances of decentralizing the Supreme Court. I have said it on many fora. It's very important for us to have more than one Supreme Court in this country. Otherwise, we will still keep going round and round and round. And it's a very simple thing to do. But in Nigeria, very simple things are made to become so sophisticated.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mike, because of want of time. I would, before we join the curtain, can you give your last word to the people, advice or projection on topics?
Esteemed viewers outside there, all we're saying is that one, the federal government must live up to its bidding as far as the suffering Nigerians are concerned. And then concern the Supreme Court justices that have been endorsed but not yet inaugurated, who is delaying the inauguration?
I'm sure
Nigerians are interested in knowing.
I'm sure the authorities. Barrister Mike, just 30 seconds. We're almost out of
yes,
time.
thank you very much. I want Nigerians to be ready to ensure that they hold this government accountable to every word that they have promised. Whatsoever they promise us, we must ensure that they implement it. Until they do that, we should hold them accountable. Then the justices should be inaugurated without further delay so that we can have seamless administration of justice in the Supreme Court.
Yeah, thank you very much for doing justice to the topics for today's edition. And viewers at home, we thank you for staying with us till the end of this program. Meet us same time next week. And also do not forget to follow us on all our social media channels. Stay tuned till next week.